Welcome to one of the most unreasonable videos that I've ever made, with 69 commanders loading onto the map. The unit limit is set at 32,000, and I have it on good authority it's going to be tested. The name of the game and the circumstances are both beyond all reason. It's made by volunteers, open source, free to play, but it will cost you a whole chunk of your free time and probably more of your sanity. So if you have either of those, before we get started, it'd be incredible if you could smash that like button or maybe even subscribe. I'm kind of the algorithm, and Jimmy, what are we at? 1,030 likes on this video, on this cast, and I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways, because I don't know what else I do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. Especially than Fake Pilot, as starting things out very early. We're on full metal plate. Usually the biggest struggle for the commanders, and beyond all reason, is figuring out which teammate to blame. But in the early game, finding metal extractors and getting energy. Those are not much of an issue here on full metal plate because we don't like to bury the lead. The map is a metal plate. That means you can place metal extractors wherever you'd wish on the ground. And wind turbines spin at 25 per second, which is some of the highest, if not the highest, in the entire game. So you have nearly effectively unlimited. We got some leaker, says the person who's currently leaking. Well, as you know, the map is dark and full of ticks, and a lack of vision is the common state, not just something in the early game. Not having units to be able to send across the map or cover all the areas between you and the enemies means that you're going to spend more time scared of what could be rather than scared of what is. And make sure to like and subscribe for existential dread. But the tier 1 units heading across. And the summary, with this amount of potential economy, scaling at literally the fastest you possibly can while still not having any bonuses to build power, means that the early game will ramp up quickly, the unit count will grow exponentially, and the economies along with it. And while tier 1 might be dangerous, quick, and difficult to stop at this stage, I doubt we'll be here for long. And all three factions enabled. We have the Armada and Cortex, the original factions, and the Legion, the third experimental faction, which is pretty much completed at this point. Armada and Cortex with more conventional style units, whereas Legion has all the fancy stuff we couldn't jam into them. Almost an unfair amount, some might say. I say it's more entertaining. The Carquitos with its laser, shotgun, and shield all put together. Expensive, but able to help block out some of those early ticks. And we have Avalons for the blue team. By the way, the blue team only has 33 commanders to the 36 of red. But the blue team also has Emery, the #1 team player and maybe just #1 player in the entire game. Ranked 75 as his Viking helmet from winning at least one tournament. I think it's more than one. So we'll see if he can be worth at least 3 commanders himself. And because of the exponential curve of the beyond all reason economy, 1 commander can be worth much more than 3 in the right place, the right time, and with the right planning. Homer, the Legion commander, heading out, looking to match anything in the very middle of the field, right across the logo, burnt into the center. We have the economy scaling up quickly, over 1,000 metal per second per team. You can see in the top right corner those tiny little indicators. The backline players, I'm sure, going about their idealized Factorio build. The frontline players stressing out about single units breaking through. But the lines are slowly and surely starting to be drawn. We got Pounders out in front, Decurions from the Legion gunning down some more of the ticks. The Commanders moving up, Centurions over to the left side. The heaviest Armada tier 1, great for taking out large amounts of units. Those Carquitos look so weird from the side. They're holding up their shields in front. Their shields break after taking a certain amount of damage, but it actually reduces the damage taken before then. Cortex Commander lining up with his grunts up there. Wait a second. Those are not the normal. Archaic Carquinos. Oh, we got all the fancy experimental units that aren't even in the usual multiplayer. But what is the usual multiplayer? All right? Whatever's the most entertaining. Whatever's the best games for the fans. Whatever's the most fun to play. And whatever your CPU can afford. as the map itself starts to become a lot more like the CPU that you can't afford. But as time goes on, it's only going to get more and more full. The power grid's coming together. The Decurions, the highest DPS early game, just slicing through some of the tier 1. The thugs challenging them. The thug life isn't for everyone, but the Cortex know it well. And up to the north, the line's still drawn, though a bit of a squiggly one at that. Artillery tanks just blasting through as Homer, just building his economy out on the field. More tier 1 marching forward, and a few turrets out in front for Avalons. Somehow not a single commander has gone down yet, despite all the, well, difficult negotiations between them. A whole lot of wreckage strewed across the ground, though. Unlike in almost every other map, I think reclaiming wreckage is going to pale in comparison to simply building more metal extractors, which are very well worth it. How much is each one here? Wow, it's 2.4 for tier 1. It's 4 times as much for tier 2. Legion has some quirks about it as well, but actually breaking through a bit awkward. Some of the, well, back in my day, we only had 64 colors on a computer. Okay, Grandpa. I thought it was just green and something close to black, but not quite, because the CRT monitor wouldn't show it. You're right, actually. The Alaris holding the line against a line of ticks, which are just kind of keeping things at bay. The vision. I just want to go back one more time and see the darkness that is so oppressive on the front line. The radar dots give you a general idea. Once a unit comes into vision range, the radar will assign an icon to it. So as long as it stays in radar range, you'll be able to keep track of where that unit is. But if you haven't yet seen it, it's just a dot that has yet to be triangulated or something fancy sounding like that. More moving up. And the blue team starting to feel a little bit of pressure. The southern front is wide open with ticks streaming through. A battle line of Decurions and Cortex units, as well as Archaic, just a mix. You can share units. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the players on the front line have factories from each faction. There's nothing stopping you besides the time it takes to put them together. Some tier 2 units, but the grunts are marching through. There's not too much out in front to deal with them. And getting to the backline economy, where I seriously doubt there are very many units, could be devastating. But the grunts will move and try to attempt more malleable front lines. Actually, there's a bunch of construction turrets there that could be taken out. The grunts make their way through. The light laser turrets are not very much in contest. And trying to take these down. Actually not taking down any of the construction turrets. And the turrets are reclaiming the units as they come through. They made it all the way through into the back line of... What is this? Fake Pilot is putting together a checkerboard of laser turrets, construction turrets, and more turrets than your map can handle. And there's nothing stopping him. Why not? It doesn't even seem like there's any method to the madness. It's not on a grid system. He's just placing each one down randomly. Which, in my opinion, is actually better overall. But ooh, some Medusa salvo tanks firing off a volley of rockets in that general area. Some Prometheus heavy assault. The tier 2 has hit the field. The economies at 4,000 metal and about 50,000 energy per second. The Prometheus with its heat ray trying to burninate across the front lines, but nothing. It's succeeding. But the Banisher tanks from Cortex, great for taking out those medium to large targets, which barely includes your mother. A nuclear silo coming together. Armageddon near the front as tier 2 metal extractors are queued up in some of the remaining real estate. It's going to become quite a traffic jam if players aren't careful, especially from the back line getting to the front. The line's still very contested across the front, but starting to coalesce as the defenses and the units get more range and more damage. It becomes harder and harder for large groups of small units to find a place. But so far, lining things up. The Decurions, the Carcinos, We have some artillery launchers, more tricks tickling. Yeah, I guess. Trickling through. But looking at the big picture, it definitely seemed... Well, the blue team, with less commanders, but honestly, it's not about how many commanders you have. It's about how you use them. And so far, how has no commander died in 10 minutes? In Full Metal Plate, not fastest map possible. FMP. Oh, that doesn't narrow it down either. It's effectively the same as fastest map possible in StarCraft. Small indie RTS. You might have heard of it. Prometheus just melting through the thugs. Though the wreckage from previous units is starting to get in the way of a lot of the vehicles. Literally just a drive-by laser here. The thugs might have enough to take it out. It's racked up a dozen kills. I don't think it'll get any more. Overrunning with tier 1. What is this? The tank's just blasting through pounders, slamming into the lines. And... oh, it's Emery. With tier 1 vehicle plants, but knowing that the pounders are great at punching through lines of smaller units. Doesn't make as much progress as maybe hoped for. The defenses come together in time, but... well, tier 3 is already on the field. The Shivas being added in. I'm surprised we haven't seen any nuclear launches yet. But it's only a matter of time. We saw the silos coming together. The Shiva battle mechs. Better for blasting through the tier 2. And of course, having tier 1 at all is very helpful for drawing out shots, making artillery look the wrong way, and providing vision. Having that vision is absolutely critical for making decisions on where to go and when. There are over 10,000 units on the field. That does include buildings, which are instances themselves. But a bombing run is coming out. The aircraft are enabled, it's just there haven't been so many on the field. Some fighters just being sent out from the blue team. The great turret thrust of Faker Pilot is continuing to extend across the map, which, you know, good for him. He's got hot laser turrets and he's not afraid to use them. The bombing run. The Decurions are vulnerable. The bombers are just... this guy in particular. Boltzmann Potato. He has an advanced fusion reactor right there and he might be regretting it. The bombers come in and will unload. And it takes down all the bombers with the explosion's collateral damage. So, of course it's gotta be me. No one else but Mr. Potato. Unfortunately, he's boiled, mashed, and stuck in a stew simultaneously. Not very happy about it. But that guy in particular. Well, oh my. Fake Pilot still slowly turret creeping across. Unit cap. Oh, each player is limited to about 450 to 500 units. It depends on how many teammates are left. A nuke! Wait, a commander died. 2 commanders have died. What is happening back here? Oh, he's taking out some of his metal extractors for a tier 4 fusion. Those are enabled. Everything's enabled. Nukes on the front line. The Decurions trying to hold. The sharpshooters helping, but there was a gap in the lines, especially after that bombing run. Another nuke. There's nothing. There's no anti-nuke intercepting it. Oh no. And the front line gonna get slammed. A huge chunk of units taken out, many of them badly bruised. The Prometheus heavy tanks survived some of the outer radius of it. But several players just out of the game simultaneously after the nukes start to fly. Drawing out... oh, it's a tumbleweed! It's an amphibious, not relevant here, rolling nuclear bomb. So, yeah, you don't want to keep that thing in your base for long. It's got a metric fuck ton of HP, and it moves, technically. And it's working its way forward. Still a lot of tier 1. We were up to 12,000 units on the field. He shared some of his turrets That is the limiting factor. The unit count is spread across the board, so that way one player can't take up half of it. Like I said, we're going to test it. I bet there's half a dozen players at the unit camp right now. But here we go, the swarm of Decurions. And are those the javelins, the tier 3? At least the early tier 3 out of the Legion. The sharpshooters trying to move forward to contest them. But they're incredibly fragile, and I don't mean emotionally. Not too much vision to deal with. Mosquitoes flocking around with their rocket salvos. And that turret is that a Soul Invictus? Indeed. Up to the north, you hear the starlights and the sharpshooters blasting. The turret line kind of obscures the horizon. But it looks like the red team blasting through for the most part. Some mines have been laid down by blue, but that's not going to be too much in comparison. Shields scattered throughout. Anti-air. But the Soul Invictus being rallied out. And Astreus long-range plasma cannons with their cluster artillery. Blasting through the front line. The Soul Invictus. No, go back. Making things real hot and heavy. Shotguns, long-range thermal lances swinging. Oh, be careful with that thing. Is that what they meant when they said hot singles in my area? Maybe a little too hot. Meanwhile, blue team, some nuclear bombers are trying to slice through. They target the gantry. And most of them take it out of the sky. 13.6 thousand units. The red team definitely making progress. They have 40k more energy. 280,000. And wow, the turret creep has mostly been stalled about halfway through. Was that a commander going down? But we see the line drawn right past the center. Though Avalon's is still holding that front line. We have the Astreus on either side. See if anybody gets some of the tier 3 rapid fire plasma cannons. I imagine they're coming online soon. A nuke knocked out of the sky. Meanwhile, the Tigers are trying to blast through a hard wall of Decurions. And the sheer amount of bullets, quantity has a quality all its own. Clearly. But another wave. 14,000 units and counting. The Tumbleweed has... Is that the first one? It's taken that long? Alright, well... As Thors are making their way through lightning tanks from the Armada. We have... The tanks are trying to... It looks like the line is getting pushed back by the sheer amount of wreckage, which can block the shots as well. The Starlight's helping out. Juggernaut. Down the center from the Cortex. The Mammoths trying to bring it down by the ankles. So far, marginally successful. I see some nuclear bombers headed north. Another nuke knocked out of the sky. The bombers a little closer to the ground and looking for a target. Anti-air is thin or not existent. Barely any anti-air at all. They're gonna take out the construction turrets, which it could be worse. And then, of course, another wave. Well... The madness continues. A nuke lands or a juggernaut is... I think that's just a juggernaut being taken out. Everything in the whole area will know it. Goes up like a mini nuke. Meanwhile, the Medusa, the Legion swarm, moving forward. Some dragons from the Cortex. Titans to the north. Marching forward. But they're marching into the Cortex line, and I don't think they're going to be standing for long. The amount of DPS between the Shivas and the Juggernauts is too damn high. Optimism here at its finest. The dragons are melting the front line. The air units swarming on either side. Don't give me stuff, I might lag out. That's a real concern for many of the players here. I'm not seeing any super long-range plasma cannons, but we have Marauders moving forward. The cheapest tier 3 unit, but very quick. Getting it underneath the shield. The shield will deflect plasma shots from long range, but it does nothing once you're already inside. Stray is blasting some of the units on the back line. And Dragons matching the mass flak trucks. And the trucks are all stacked up, so... well, there still should be enough DPS to take it down. Meanwhile, a bit of a lopsided line. The blue team actually has more economy. And what's going on back here? Let's just take a look at the literal power grid. A tier 4 super fusion reactor. If any of these go down, the team is coming with it. But the back line is building up. The powerhouse. The fusion cores are lit. And now the energy is exponentially increasing. The converters. Oh, multiple nukes as well. We've got fusion reactors, construction turrets, energy converters, and nuclear missiles. I'm not seeing any anti-nuke. What, where are you going? That looks very short. I mean, not to judge, but the nukes actually cutting across the map down the center. And all the way to the south. And we'll hit the front line. And everyone oh, dangerously close. Well, certainly cleared out that area. Though, at the same time, the Dragons burning to the north. Bob 7 of the Bobaverse. Well, not to say he's not going to have his impact. Cake will now be burnt, unfortunately. And there's nothing to challenge these Dragons. Fighters are swinging north, but the entire quadrant could be taken out. Meanwhile, though, the red team is punching through the center. The catapults are not enough to block them. The Dragons! No! Burning through. The fighters are taken out. Some of the fighters were taken out by the explosion. And more on the back line. And you see the center is becoming thin. More nukes intercepted. The Dragons somehow cut down before the last fusion reactors. Multiple nukes intercepted. But the red team is breaking through. The blue team now has a 200,000 advantage when it comes to energy production. And metal production usually soon follows, though it's a little bit different. It's a little bit harder to track here on Full Metal Plate. More nukes. Long-range plasma cannons. Nukes at the front. Something was firing. Oh, is that the new Starfall? No, the Olympus. Looking for Starfalls. More nukes intercepted. The blue team has a massive lead in energy production, but they haven't yet translated into the same level of lead for nukes. More anti-nuke. More! You can never have enough. If enough nukes, they can potentially punch through. Whoa, okay. No, where are you going? What are you doing? Oh, wait, he's firing at He fired... Dangerously close. He tried to nuke the flying flagship. Well, that's currently shelling the base. And there's a juggernaut here as well. Disastrous. You know, a dangerous game, but I think it actually worked out. It took out a big chunk of it. It can survive several radiological alarms. Another nuke intercepted. Fighters cut out of the sky. The red team is in a nearly impossible scenario now. I mean, they just need to cut through to those fusions in the back line. One explosion will take half the energy with it. That's not the normal case if you watch a more reasonable game. I know. But when we're all jammed in here, nice and tight, your neighbor's fusion reactor is very much within collateral damage range of your own. And here we go. The Ragnarok rapid-fire long-range plasma cannon. Doing exactly what it describes. Hitting the fusions on the front line. Not the most accurate, but does it really need to be? Going to hit more. Blue starting to really consolidate that lead in map control. They've shored up the defenses across the front. They only have juggernauts. Only... Wait, what are those? EMP missiles fired. The long-range plasma... A Starfall. The new Starfall. With its final... his finished animation. Still the same effect, but we'll see momentarily. Pawn launchers! Firing off pawns to try to get behind the shields. So that way they are blocked. The pawn launchers in behind the lines. Unfortunately, not quite enough of them. Well, a couple pawns making it through. Another volley of nukes on either side. Anti-nuke flung up. The interceptors cover limited range, but they're much cheaper. Another point-blank nuke curves around and will finally sink the flagship with 5 nuclear missiles at very dangerous locations. The epic Tyrannus battlecruiser overhead. Those Ragnarok still firing from extreme range, covering most of the map. Tyrannus on either side, the gigantic flying fortress. How long on the Starfall? Check back in 5 minutes. But the game itself is slowing down in order to accommodate having a frame rate of, you know, any. Multiple calamities. The Cortex version blasting away. Pounding through the back line. We see the real estate. At this point, the most valuable resource is not metal or energy, but space. Space! I don't... And they're running out of options to use it. Have a huge energy lead, but don't block the way out. We have factories behind. Whatever happened to those tumbleweeds? I don't think they made it. The Myrmidons with their... Oh, look at all those Tyrannus up there. There's surely at least a few fighters. What? Building a fusion reactor in a precarious position. More pawn launchers. These shields, they have the tier 2 shields, but they're barely... Oh no, the shields are not holding. The energy is not holding. The projectiles of the Calamity are punching through. Starfall is coming together. How many commanders? 29 to 23. Believe in favor of the blue team. No, wait, 23 for the blue team, 29. Some nuclear bombers. That top left corner is really suffering, but the red team has made a lot of progress to the south. They aren't knocked out yet. And even though the general lead is there for the blue team, you have to bring it to bear somehow. And that's becoming more difficult. The nuclear bombers intercepted. 14.5 thousand units. Those nukes are landing. Cutting off some more of the turrets. The edge of the front line. The Starfall is gonna need everything. 10 seconds. And then it costs over 250,000 energy to fire. Does he have enough? He has enough in the bank. And here we go. Spinning it up. And there it goes. Unleashes a volley of projectiles into the sky. And with it, prayers. They will land on the shields, and they will bounce. Wait, do we have shield bouncing? We're gonna find out. No, the shields will absorb it. But, can they hold? It looks like strongly. So there's been some changes to the shields. Shield bouncing, I believe, has been removed or is a less common quirk, but no longer do random shots break through, but instead the shields will just absorb it and cost energy. But the Starfall trying to break through, finds a weak point, gets into it, knocks out the fusions. Starting to really tax the energy. The Starfall continues launching, though. The North, how are they still holding? A line of Astraeus, multiple long-range plasma cannons, almost a no-bots land here. Only a handful of units, only the hardiest of units can survive this zone. Juggernaut, Soul, Invictus pitted against one another. Medusas, continuing Starfalls raining. The flagships in the sky holding the line. The Tyrannus towering above. 15,000 units. The shields will not hold. The Starfall punches through them. And another wave of economy is taken out. Anything but multi-layered tier 2 shields cannot withstand the concentrated firepower of the Legion Starfall. What is the range? I have spoken. Another volley. Another fusillade. We'll get through. A weak point. A Tyrannus was brought down. More nukes flung out. And another Starfall. Wait, no, that's the same one. Same. They're incredibly expensive. Both to maintain and to build. 63,000 metal. More on the way. More nukes. First version intercepted. Oh no. The dragons. Flying to the north. The Tyrannus moving in fighters. The dragons have a lot of HP. Something exploding underneath. I think a juggernaut. They're getting close. Another volley of nukes. Combining with the Starfall. The Starfall punching through the shields. But not finding overwhelming success. The juggernauts moving undercover. Is that Emery? Sorry. Yes, indeed, of course. But the plasma cannons couldn't punch through, but the dragons may be able to do so. The sheer amount. How many dragons? 74 dragons. And the anti-air. What the f... There are penguins! The Penguin Kings! So cool! They have lasers. These are only seen in raptor mode. Usually the penguins! Unfortunately, with the dragons undercutting them, the penguins might not be enough. Many of the dragons going down. And here we see their natural habitat. The penguins firing fucking lasers out of their eyes. Because that's what they do. Penguins with frickin' laser beams. That's what we need. The Armada, the Cortex, no. The Penguins. Just... slowly but surely, they made their way across the field. No, it was a treacherous journey. Fraught with danger, with dragons. Literally and figuratively. But the Penguins marched on, as the migration knew no end. They knew victory or death. Meanwhile, the plasma cannons, over 1 million energy per second for the blue team, but the starfalls are still raining down. The shield's strained. Another starfall, yeah, multiple starfalls firing. Might be able to punch through that front line. That's their best hope. That and the Penguins, apparently. I don't even know what's building them. But a volley the rain! The starfalls. Wait, that's a starfall from the blue team. Firing past the Penguins. Into the midline. More nukes intercepted on either side. Who knows how many. But the Penguins continue to march. The wedge formation, a well-known Penguin war tactic. It is the best chance. Penguin! The Penguins with, what is, let's find one that's near full HP, which is none of them apparently. 30k? Pretty good. For reference. Well, they aren't the most hardy creatures. Many of them will not survive the winter. Said winter. The dragons now making their way through the center. Might be able to take out some of the starfalls as well. Not too many fighters left. Players struggling to control their units. Though the unit count has dipped slightly, the sheer amount of economy is another strain on the processing power. The Penguins engaging the Juggernaut. I have no idea where they're built from. I'm not seeing any more Penguins rallied out. A one-time migration. It's not about the result. It's about the journey. And the Penguins bleeding out. Blasted from the field. Unfortunately, unable to journey any further. The shields punched through the starfall. They barely hold. Multi-layered shields, but up against multiple... some progress being made. There is an epic fusion with the blast radius. This is the edge over here. The blast radius of that epic fusion could take the entire southern front. An epic Stormbringer. All the, like, tier 4 versions of units enabled here. In something you can do in the options of the game when you're loading into it. If you'd like to test them out. It is looking difficult. Well, actually, wait. When did Red get more energy? Madness. Some epic fusion reactors coming together, and suddenly Red! Wait a second. 1 million energy. Ah, they were gifted by the gods. But do not look a gift god or mod in the mouth, as give you an opportunity to strike back. Unfortunately, they've lost so much territory and even more. A lot of the construction turrets taken down. Multiple epic fusion reactors in the danger zone. Behemoths now marching out. Tumbleweeds continue to roll. I see them rolling. And do not accuse me of hating. More nukes. The commander count 18 to 21. Far be it from the 69 we started with. The dragons being cut down. The Starfalls, multiple Starfalls firing. Holding for now. Staggered, I don't know if it's better to be staggered or, well, he's just firing on cooldown. Unfortunately, the dragons are getting close. The blue team, the momentum is so hard to counteract. The tumbleweeds sneaking in down the center. Well, not really sneaking. About sneaky as large as a massive nuke rolling down the center of the map could sneak. So, really not at all. But more gonna be taken down, and unfortunately, the collateral damage is scattered throughout. Well. Things, heating up a bit. As everything that explodes, like some version of a nuclear explosion, is a dime a dozen now. The juggernauts, the nukes themselves, tumbleweeds, Sol Invictus, fusion reactors. The Tyrannus holding the line for the blue team for now. The Starfall, that looked like a friendly one. Well, it doesn't feel so friendly from that angle. Doing phrasing. Pushed back to the final quadrant. The red team. Oh no! Another chunk. The shield's broken. The army count. I think we peaked at around 15,000 units. It's hard to see it passing that cap again. No. The menagerie of units brawling. Plasma projectiles landing absolutely everywhere. Tyrannus in melee range. Starfalls in everything range. Nukes. 10 to 20 nukes per minute. Mostly being knocked out of the sky. There's still the tiny chance to break through to the south, but a battle line of flagships Their broadsides focused. And the Tyrannus overhead. The air control still the defining characteristic. No penguins to come and save them, and now the Starfall's focusing on the front. Is that? They're making a forward Starfall with a summoning circle of construction aircraft. The critical mass has yet 36 seconds, like 36 minutes, yes. These sort of matches, especially when playing them, are an exercise in time travel. As instead of the game having tiny FPS, it slows down. We're currently at half speed. At least on the replay version. Which just means things taking twice as long. So that way, it can all play at... It tries to maintain, I believe, something like 15 to 20 FPS. But you know, the human eye can only see 24, so... It's a good goal. The pawn launchers. Trying to get in underneath the shields. The pawn behind enemy lines immediately getting blasted. Maybe 5 or 6 pawn launchers at once. Oh, but the long-range plasma cannons are brutalizing the shields right at the edge of the map. Some of the projectiles being blocked by the Tyrannus. The dragons still rallied across. The flagships are getting hit by the plasma shots, which is blocking the shields. So, I guess a blade of armor there. Kinda works. What is happening up here? Still attempts to move through. There's a single lab in the back, but they're scouring the very edge of it. The nukes continually... I think they might just be on autocast at this point. More Starfalls take it out. It's how many Ragnaroks? How many? He's got 11 Ragnarok plasma cannons. And they're firing directly at the front line. Though maybe a mistake could be going for the shields on the back. And another explosion will push the line back further. As the red team's one hope. More like a distant dream / nightmare, but... Oh, and now the Starfalls are landing. The shields, holding. But 2 of them drained almost entirely. The plasma shots continuing. Yeah, 1%, 24. I'm giving it all she's got, Captain! Ragnarok's concentrating forward firepower. Is that? There's an epic pawn. Epic is just, here's the unit that you know, 10 times as strong. Maybe 50. Depends on the unit. But when epic units are enabled, that's what you get. There's also some experimental ones that are unique, like the penguins. Oh, the shields are down. And the front line is starting to crumble as the sheer weight of these units is bearing down. The Ragnaroks have changed target. They've swung around to target the center. Unfortunately, there's not enough anti-air to stop the dragons. There's Resbots congregating. They were issued orders many years ago. I'm hearing quite a lot. How many silos are opening up? Yeah, it's a few. I heard the silos open for the nukes. Nuclear launch detected. But they haven't yet fired. Oh, there's a bunch of... one after another to the north being intercepted. The star falls. Oh my. How are the shields here? There aren't. Whole area pummeled by the starfalls. The flagships starting to move forward. Oh, more epic Karganiths. The Ragnaroks have retargeted. Firing right at the edge of the shield. Oh no. Oh lord, it's coming. The anti-nuke is flung out. That's like 30 nuclear missiles. All it takes is one. We'll know if one gets through. Not enough. The anti-nukes intercept across the board. Or do they? Oh no. A disaster. How did the shields hold? What happened? It doesn't matter what happened. It mattered the result. Somehow the shields held, so we know it wasn't a plasma projectile. Nukes. One may have hit the edge. 40 of them. Well, maybe. Meanwhile, the commander count dwindling. The Ragnaroks have been firing this whole time. How many kills between them? 1,207. Rookie numbers. The Tyrannus was 756. How about the Starfalls? On both sides, but I'm not going to discriminate. I'm trying to find the actual Starfall icons. Only 319 on the current Starfalls. Though they've been targeting the infrastructure as opposed to the units. Like a shotgun blast from the sky. The shields are holding. Oh no. Shields holding. Barely. Dragons. Fighters, please. Who? Calls on support, but who's left? One last gasp of nukes. As they try to move forward, the Tyrannus. Getting very close to the Ragnaroks, which will... Even when it goes down, it might be enough. Knockdown. The star falls. The shields are down. Knockdown again. I don't think they're coming back up this time. Another massive volley of nuclear missiles. The anti-nuke is flung out. They're targeting the front line. The starfalls are landing as the nukes cut across. And even if the nukes don't hit, the starfalls will. The Ragnaroks are vulnerable. So Invictus moving forward. Somehow those shields live, but it doesn't even matter. The server is exploding. This did push the very limit with unlimited resources. 69 players, but honestly, the amount of players is a little less relevant. It's flashy and a clickbait title. but the amount of players pales in comparison to the amount of units and build power. That's where the processing power is. And even though this isn't the most players we've ever jammed into a server, that unit count hit nearly the highest I've ever seen. And with all the... How did... Oh! I was asking how it survived. It didn't. Another wave! Big bada boom! A game-ending disaster piece! The epic fusion goes up. And with it, a whole bunch of commanders. 4 remain. Somehow the South held, but I doubt it's gonna rise again. In fact, there's only 1 player left. But if you'd like to participate in these massive games, join the Bar Discord server, which you can find on the site, beyondallreason.info. Occasionally during milestones and on a regular basis, there's All Reason No Logic, another organization that holds King of the Hill on every Sunday with 50 to 100 players. And if you get lucky, you can find some time. These massive matches have to be set up by the server moderators because they will actually break some of the other servers. And if they're not set up correctly, or even if they are. So that's why it's a planned event as opposed to something you can just randomly do. But they're a lot of fun to experience, and hopefully you enjoyed the spectacle. Even though the red team couldn't turn it around, as the momentum of the juggernauts and the dragons and the starfalls is just, at some point, too much. Again, these matches, I don't think are about who wins or loses. It's about the journey. The fact the game runs it all. Even if it were more of a light jog at this point. The plasma projectiles. Another wave of nukes. Somehow there might be enough anti-nuke. But the shields are failing. The dragons have invaded. Four commanders. He's still got him in the corner over there. Another one down. The nuke's just hitting across the board. The anti-nuke is pretty much gone. There's nowhere safe. 2. And oh my... Oh, the self-detonate! Oh my god! It's chaining through the whole map! Wait. Wait. Is it gonna chain to these fusions? That'll be the rest of the map. Oh no. The nuke's hit. It only takes half the map. But wait! More self-det. The players at this point, knowing they've achieved victory. That one somehow, didn't quite find the hit. Oh, but I'm sorry. There you go. There goes the entire, not just the neighborhood, the country. But and now, if they had taken every single commander with them, the FPS is coming back for the very end. If they had somehow taken every single commander with them, there's a tiny chance that they would have actually lost the game. But 7 commanders remain. We're back to 1 speed with only a few thousand units, as the majority of the units at that stage were the, So that's how it ends. Ion Spy. Crushing it. We'll see if I can read this. 9.78 million damage dealt. Must have been controlling some of those starfalls. over 75,000 units destroyed. 1.62 thousand actions per minute for both teams exactly, which is a remarkable, remarkably even. I guess one team had more players, but so 3 clams. The end of another unreasonable match. Quite a back and forth. The trend, well, you can see the wreckage of all of the largest units. Though, I'm sure your mother's in there somewhere. But, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope I made your day just a little bit better. Remember to check out the bar Discord if you're interested in joining in some of the games, or, of course, check out the other videos. If you got the means of motivation, be awesome to check out Patreon or YouTube membership. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free, at least for now. So, thank you for watching. Make sure to check out this video Jimmy picked out just for you. And I'll see you next time. Good luck. Have fun. Stay unreasonable.